But Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Talking Intentionally. Today we have what hopefully will be the front page of crypto Twitter, a conversation with Johann from Robinhood and Steven from Arbitrum. Obviously, these two have collaborated a lot. We have met and spoken with each of them individually, so it's really nice to have them together. Just want to start by asking both Johann and Steven, what was your independent journey to crypto? Obviously, both of you guys had careers that were outside of Web3. So like it was a jump to get into this space. So what was that like? Why'd you make the jump?
Steven, why don't you start?
All right, sure. Um, Great. Yeah, it goes back for me. I'm going to age myself, but well over a decade to about 2013 was when I first got involved in cryptocurrencies, initially Bitcoin, because really only was Bitcoin then. So I was an incoming graduate student at Princeton University and interested in cryptography. And I was very focused on this problem of, hey, how do we secure digital assets? Because back then there were not too unsimilar to now, but the flavor of them was a bit different. There were lots of thefts and hacks, and back then, the people were just often just storing their keys on a single machine, a single device, and it was very, very Wild West and dangerous. And the question was, can we use cryptography to build a better way? And the protocols that I actually, built together with some others as a graduate student formed the basis for a lot of the security protocols we use today, and actually were the foundation of several startups, including Fireblocks and others that have gone to really commercialize these protocols for institutional grade custody of crypto. And actually, if you zoom out into what like motivated me was really this problem of this is really cool technology, but it's never going to be usable for the mainstream if we can't solve these basic problems. And if you fast forward to other contributions that I've done and problems that I've worked on, they've really always fit into that specific category. Of course, scaling was a big one with building Arbitrum initially as an academic project at Princeton and then as a company. It wasn't that I cared and said, "Hey, I need to do scaling." Was this is the biggest problem facing crypto today? Scaling. This is going to be what holds us back for institutional adoption. I think it's very befitting that I'm here today with Johann from Robinhood because I'm not going to say that I can foresee the future, but way back then, these were the problems that we were trying to solve for a day in which an institution like Robinhood would be able to, where the technology would be ready for them to build on chain and build some of their core products on chain. So anyway, there's probably more to be said, but that's my initial path to crypto and fast forward to today.
Have you ever thought about building a custody company?
I back then I was it's a good question. I was approached by really all of the companies at the time with job offers, advisory offers, and the like to help there. But I was very much focused from that product as an academic project only, and I helped many people get off the ground, but I was really focused on building the protocols and the cryptography as a researcher at that point. Um, it was really, and Arbitrum started that way too. And you might say to yourself, okay, so why did I, go all the way and commercialize Arbitrum and not do that with some of the other work I did? And I think, to me, a lot of it was the unknown and complexity of it, right? So cryptographic protocols, there's a lot of difficulty in protocols to build around it, but it's relatively, well contained. You build a cryptographic MPC solution for ECDSA, you hand over a spec. Sure, there could be bugs, there could be implementation errors, there are, secure protocols around them, but it was relatively well contained. This L2 net problem to me, even after we wrote the initial Arbitrum paper, was clear to me that there would be years and years of work and iteration until this actually was at the point where we can call it, ready for institutions like Robinhood, say. And so it was something that I really wanted to do firsthand and felt that it needed our continued contribution handed off. So yes, along the way there were definitely opportunities to commercialize that, but ultimately this is the work that I decided to together with Ed and Harry and others to go all the way on.
What
That's awesome.
what was your journey into crypto?
Yeah, I mean it's a bit different, but it's maybe less interesting. I definitely did not create a new algorithm to store crypto at the time. But yeah, I started a company right before going to college. We're doing like payment system and payments rails for apps and websites that wanted to start supporting payments, kind of like a very small stripe if you want. And so at the time, we were getting a lot of the feedback that, merchants were frustrated with credit card companies. It was slow. They were only paid a few weeks later. There was all these issues of chargebacks and fraud. And so, that was one of the main pain points I kept hearing. And at the same time, I'm from the EU, and the financial crisis of '08, '09 really started to impact a lot of people. One of my roommates was also impacted by it, and so um, that's at the time that I was really thinking about the fact that, there has to be a better way to transact and to send money between people. At the same time, the Bitcoin white paper was starting to be a bit more visible, and people were sharing it. And at the time, I thought that was the solution for everything. That Bitcoin will be used for payments on an instant basis. And if you look at the story, like at the end of the day, Bitcoin is probably more used as a reserve than as a payment system. But that's how I got the virus. And then I worked at different startups, mostly on the payment side of things, and worked at different blockchain company as well. And so yeah, pretty excited about this space. I think there's a lot to do, but where I'm excited the most is I think Robinhood has this very big focus on making very complicated problem hard to understand for most people, easy to use and easy to understand. And so we want to make sure that we can bring crypto to the masses and make sure that people can interact with it without having to have a technical degree or be somebody like Steven that understands actually all the math behind it. So yeah.
Okay, speaking about that deal, definitely have to ask, how did Robinhood and Arbitrum choose to partner with each other? Like obviously a lot of sub questions here. Why did you guys choose EVM over Solana? Why Arbitrum over, potentially other chains? What was the actual process of a conversation like this? Like how does that go through to like the most amount of details you're allowed to share in like a public medium? But yeah, like very curious to just hear more about this deal. Yeah. Either of you feel free to take it.
Yeah, I can start and Steven can fill whatever I'm missing. But overall for us, for anything that we do at Robinhood, we spend a lot of time trying to compare options, trying to understand, pros and cons. Um, Obviously with Arbitrum, we've been working together for a long time. We actually did a partnership in the past for our Robinhood wallet, which is our self-custody wallet. And we have integrated Arbitrum in different ways within the wallet to support things that, at the time was not necessarily mainstream. And so really that started the relationship. And then when we started to look into building the chain, like there was a few things that we were really excited about when we were thinking about Arbitrum. One was, the way that you can actually import and use code from different places that are not just written in Solidity. The fact that it's the priority system or the priority queue is we think a bit better than some of the other systems that we see out there. And then the EVM compatibility is definitely something that we were also excited about. When you think about the world of tokenized assets and real world assets, we don't think it's going to be limited to one chain and one chain only. Like, we think that there will be competition, obviously, and it's a good thing for the ecosystem to have competition. But being able to move between chains is going to having this EVM compatible more options. So yeah, overall, I think we were excited about this partnership, and because we know each other pretty well, we think that we can keep going on it.
Yeah, I think that's, appreciate all obviously the kind words, and I think that sums it up, pretty well. I think it's to add two things. One is, and this is maybe goes without saying that of course, we Johann mentioned we've been working together for a long time, and we love working with the Robinhood team. But the thing that's actually unique about their approach to crypto is you see a lot of institutions, and you have seen dating back actually a number of years, like touching crypto or dabbling in crypto and like doing something on the blockchain, but understanding the real power of the blockchain technology and not just, hey, this is the real thing, and we have this like little toy experiment over there, which is what a lot of institutions do, and they view crypto as kind of the side thing, but understanding, no, this is actually fundamental technology that can, power traditional financial applications as well and merge and converge in ways that the boundary between old finance and new finance or centralized finance and decentralized finance actually begin to blur. This is something which I think Johann and team at Robinhood are really at the forefront of and understanding, the power of this technology, not just to add new dimensions, but to revolutionize the old and actually to expand the old. In the case of Robinhood, of course, making their platform available in the EU to many, many more countries, to millions of more users by leveraging new technology rails. And the second thing, which I think is unique about Arbitrum, is this idea that we have both a top chain in the ecosystem, but also a top chain stack in the ecosystem as well. And this is something which gives developers, I'll just speak generally, lots and lots of optionality. You can start off, say, on the main chain, and you can go ahead on Arbitrum One. And maybe for some developers, they stay there, right? Because they want deep liquidity. They can't attract their own liquidity, or they don't want to, or they want to tap into other protocols. Maybe for some, they stay there, but for some, it actually makes sense to launch your own chain. And the fact that the Arbitrum ecosystem has both of these components allows you to seamlessly, I'll say, graduate from one to the other. You can start at A and you can go to B. And for reasons that operational reasons, I think was very important for Robin. I don't want to speak for you, but to launch on a particular day. And by the way, you can't launch a chain out of stealth. It's not possible. There's like dozens or hundreds of partners that you need to meet with and tell your plans to try to integrate with. You don't want to come, out of the gate and not have a block explorer and RPC services and wallets and oracles, et cetera, et cetera. But the only way that, this was possible and the way that it was done was to start off on a public chain and then graduate to your own chain as well. And that's something that is uniquely enabled by the Arbitrum ecosystem because it has both this incredibly neutral public chain and also this top chain stack, which is actually there are lots of teams that have one or the other, but there aren't very many that actually have both.
I have one final question, then I'm going to hand it off to Ash. But my question is kind of related to the nature of like the typical kind of crypto user on Robinhood. Obviously, there's like, the kind of person who's into crypto today is very different than the kind of person who's into crypto maybe in 10 years. How do both of you guys see? Well, one, Johan, if you don't mind talking about what is the current like user of Robinhood crypto like right now, and then down the line, how do you guys see like crypto being part of our lives? Is it something that it's going to be mainly a trading thing, or is it going to be more of a backbone thing? And I hope you both have different answers, but it's okay if you guys have.
Yeah, I can start. So for Robinhood, we have a lot of user at this point. Robinhood in the US is 26 million funded accounts, and we also have user across the world now between our Europe launch and also our wallet, which is available in 100 plus countries. So we have very, very different type of segments of customers. When we started actually in 2018, the crypto product, I think back in the day, we only supported a couple of assets. We didn't have transfer yet. We were really a fairly basic product. And so at the time, people were seeing Robinhood more as a easy to use, buy Bitcoin kind of product, but not necessarily like an actual crypto platform. I think since then, we changed a lot our product and added a ton of features. So we definitely have different segments. We have the people that are excited to have all their assets in one app where, they can move between buying, top stocks to buying Bitcoin. We have the people that are a bit more advanced and are using tools that are more targeting advanced user, like our Robinhood Legend, which is like a pretty advanced system where you can create technical analysis, add indicators, and all these things. Um, and then we have the more like hardcore folks that are spending a lot of time on DeFi, and so for them, like what's available on Robinhood is probably not enough, but they are able to access all the DeFi world using the Robinhood wallet. So um, yeah, definitely a variety of customers, and our goal is to make sure that we have all the tools and features for all of these people. So we've been adding more assets, we've been adding more features on a weekly basis, and we are continuing to do so. And then on the question of where do you think crypto is going, I think we are going to start seeing more and more the discussion evolving from the actual protocol or the actual like, what is a layer one or layer two, and actually what are we using it for? Um, you know, Slowly people are going to start using products that in the background, blockchain technology is being used. The same way that, for example, if you use our um, European app when you buy stock tokens, the experience really, really looks the same as if you were buying stock in the US app. But the difference is that the entire backend is powered by blockchain. And so I think we're going to start seeing that also with stablecoin, where, when you transfer money from a bank account to another bank account, there is all this complexity. And slowly you can actually just do that with stablecoin without limit 24/7, without a risk of fraud. So um, I think it's just this cultural shift that we're going to start seeing little by little. And at the end of the day, I think I would be extremely excited when we stop just talking about the protocol and we actually talk about more like what type of new use case it's unlocking. And that's really what we are focusing on with the tokenization of real world asset. It's less about we want to absolutely put it on the blockchain, but it's more about if we put it on the blockchain, we get so many more things like transparency, 24/7, instant settlement. Like this is the kind of thing that will actually make the product better and will also benefit the customer because it will reduce the cost from all these intermediaries. So yeah, I don't know if you have anything, Steven.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things you said. And actually, if looking back to when I like first got excited about smart contracts back in like 2013 or so, before Ethereum was even live, um, back then, at least in my mind, it wasn't this idea of, hey, we're going to create all these new verticals, which many of them are very cool. Like NFTs wasn't in my mind, right? Even like DeFi wasn't really, in, didn't imagine
Yeah.
that back then. What I did think about was I think that we could rebuild and revolutionize the current system, the current things that we do on this technology stack. That's not to say that any of the new stuff that we've invented is not cool and fantastic, but ultimately, my point is, I think this was, for many, myself included, the original vision of what crypto can provide and what got us so excited about that. This idea of smart contracts. You can take this construct that we have, in the existing world today, but do it in a smarter way, in a way that's more automated, in a way that's more decentralized and easier for users to use and trust, and actually lends to global distribution as well. And that's what got me the most excited. And that's actually what's so exciting about what you're doing, Johann at Robinhood today. And to my point, what differentiates what I think what you're doing from many other institutions, you're not looking at this as like, hey, there's the real stuff, and then there's like this like fringe community will try to make them happy too. But it's like, no, like you can actually use the blockchain technology. And like Johann said, you have you showed at the event in Cannes, you had the European app and the US app side by side. And guess what? They looked exactly the same. If you didn't notice that little token pill there, if you will, you really wouldn't know that anything was different. And that's amazing because, to answer your question, um, that's where I see the future of what we're doing. There will always be users that want to engage with the technical details, but if we're limited to those users, then blockchain will never go mainstream. We have to understand, are there use cases for the technology we're building that actually can benefit everyone in the world? And everyone in the world, I mean most users who don't know how to use a seed phrase and don't want to actually install their own wallet and don't want to go to a block explorer and look at their transaction. What they want to do is they want to go to Robinhood and buy a tokenized equity, or something that represents an equity, actually, probably in their mind. That's all they want to do. They want to buy equities. They want access to U.S. equities. And the idea is that they don't even have to know, unless they're paying attention and reading the fine print, which of course they can, but they don't actually have to know that it's blockchain technology underneath. And that's the ultimate power of what we're doing. And what Johan said, it's not that we're like, and I'll paraphrase a little bit, but this is what I think: building on blockchain, on the blockchain because someone said that's a good idea. It's like, no, it should be the means to get all these new cool features that you literally couldn't get elsewhere. And that can include global expansion, that can include 24/7 trading, very fast settlement and stablecoins. All these things become enabled. And that's actually music to my ears. I don't want people to move to the blockchain because that's this goal, because that shouldn't be a goal in and of itself. It should be something that you realize can help you achieve your goals. And I think that's what we're seeing here today. So very, very exciting moment for me. And I think, yeah, and it's ironic for me to say as someone who builds a lot of the back-end infrastructure, but our success will be when a lot of the infrastructure is in the background and users don't even realize or know that they're using Arbitrum or using Robinhood Chain. They don't even have to know this. They just actually get the benefits of that experience. And if you take this analogy to the real world for a second, if I go to YouTube, or the digital non-blockchain world, I should say, very not that. But if I go to YouTube and want to watch a video, um, imagine you get a pop-up that said, "Hey, do you want to watch this video on GCP today or AWS?" And you're just like, "I just want to watch my video." And for many users, they just want to use Robinhood, and that's the experience that we're giving them. And the blockchain technology is powering it all, but really they don't have to engage with it, which is a 0 to 1 moment for blockchain, because what it means is yes, we answer in the affirmative. This technology is useful even for people that can't or don't want to engage with the deep technical details underneath the hood.
Yeah, I mean, really good points. I feel like Jacob and I agree fully on this theme of like focusing on the use case and then maybe the infra being abstracted away. I guess starting with Johann, like Robinhood runs my life today. I got the gold card a couple of days ago. I moved all my money
Great.
to Robinhood. Like all these things, I stake my ETH on Robinhood. Like when you think about a very tangible use case, maybe avoiding the crypto side of things, like credit card spending, when will my bank account be transferred over to maybe leveraging some of this stuff under the hood? Like what do you view as the next thing as in your role when it comes to Robinhood crypto and starting to create a use case? We've all heard of the tokenized equities, yes, staking. Like, what's the next cool thing that maybe you can tell us about if there's something?
Yeah, I mean, there isn't like a ton of things that we can announce right now, but we also started to roll out perps in the EU, and I'm actually obsessed with the ladder that we created to manage your profit and loss. And I think the goal for us is what we showed in Cannes in June was just the beginning, and it's just like an appetizer a bit to all the stuff that we are working on at Robinhood or with the Arbitrum team. And so I think, we just have to keep watching the space. It's developing quickly, and I think that's really cool. And there's also the intersection with AI coming in a lot of places, and I think overall it's just going to be something that is not going away, and people are going to keep it being pretty involved in it.
Yeah, and then Steven, I guess on the not even on the infra side, but on the builder, like more crypto-y side, like what's next for you guys? Of course, massive news in the account abstraction side with Arbitrum just like last week or a couple weeks ago. How do you view your role in ensuring builders and people that are maybe two on the crypto side or two on the infra side start to think about these use cases? Like what specifically excites you a ton? How do you view the account abstraction stuff fitting in? Just any way you want to take that.
Yeah, so there's kind of two ways to answer this question. There's the off-chain lab side, what we're doing, which I'll talk about in a second. And some of the account abstraction stuff you mentioned is actually there, but there's also the Arbitrum ecosystem. So the Arbitrum ecosystem, um, it's really flourishing right now, both R1 as a chain and Arbitrum Orbit as an ecosystem as well. If I go back a year and a half ago, a little more January of last year, there were no Arbitrum Orbit chains. Today, there are over 100 in development with some of the biggest institutions in the world. Robinhood, chief among them, building together with us, which is a testament, I think, to the flexibility and the customizability of the stack and the ability for it to address really a wide range of use cases. So we're going to continue investing there. Which is the Arbitrum toolkit that gives you the ability to write smart contracts in Rust and C and C++ and Arbitrum chains. I think we'll see a lot of really interesting adoption there, particularly when we open up to more and more institutional users and institutional developers who are more familiar with these traditional languages. Time Boost is another really interesting one where we're doing a lot of interesting work on the MEV side, miner extractable value or side as well. And then I think that we will definitely have a lot of exciting things both on the chain side and the ecosystem side. When it comes to off-chain labs, you mentioned account abstraction. I think you're probably referencing our acquisition recently of ZeroDev. And if you go back to the first thing I said here, which is the things that motivate me, it's actually not scaling as a goal, but it's solving the hardest problems that are standing in the way for crypto to reach mainstream adoption. If you look at the history of our company, we started off building layer 2 software, and then we actually went down to layer 1. That came with the acquisition of Prismatic Labs. We built Prism, which is the leading Ethereum layer 1 consensus client, and a lot of the innovation that happens actually on layer 1 Ethereum, our team is at the forefront of that as well. And now with this acquisition, we actually went up the stack. So we started with layer 2, went down, now we went up to the application layer. And the reason is, often you solve the hardest problem, but then it's the second problem that just becomes the hardest problem. So I think we as an ecosystem, obviously, we've contributed to it, have solved scaling largely. But now UX, I think, is the hardest problem today. And you might even say by creating all these changes, we actually created more of a UX problem, and we need to solve this problem of fragmentation, give users an intuitive experience that basically, using the blockchain feels just intuitive, feels like you use a Web 2 toolkit. Back to the things I said before, you don't have to worry about, all the details of which chain I'm on, where are my assets, but it has to just, really, really work for developers and work for users. And that's some of the core things with zero devs, gas abstraction, chain abstraction that we're going to roll out, not just to actually Arbitrum chains, but in the spirit of interop, really to the entire ecosystem, so we can feel like one unified Ethereum and more broadly one unified blockchain ecosystem.
Amazing. Final thing on my end, and can keep it super quick from both of you. What's like the number one ask that you would have for people that maybe watch this? Like if you're a builder or if you're somebody who's new to crypto and you're just excited, maybe you're a Robinhood user and you're starting to get more into this. Maybe you're coming from a place like we are and you want to go mainstream, you want to make your product used by a lot of people. Do you guys have any like clear ask or clear like this is what you should be thinking about beyond what we've touched on maybe?
Yeah, if you want to build on the Robinhood chain, please reach out. We're actually talking to a lot of developers and people, and it's a very exciting moment for us. So don't hesitate to reach out. And if you're just a customer, like give us feedback. We actually spend a lot of time reading the feedback that is being sent to the teams. And a lot of the features that we launched recently are actually based on the feedback from people. So definitely don't hesitate to send that.
Likewise, for builders and users, feedback is fantastic, and also just reach out. We don't only we work with builders large and small alike, and I think between Arbitrum ecosystem generally and Robinhood chain, there's a ton of really really interesting opportunities for builders to build new experiences with new tools like tokenized equities from Robinhood and others that we can now think about. Hey, how do we integrate these into a larger, deeper, more integrated crypto experience? And so please feel free to reach out, bring your big ideas, and would love to build together with you.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for your time. Like it's really awesome to speak with you guys. Really happy that we got to bridge Robinhood and Arbitrum. Yeah, thank you again. Thank you to everyone who's watching and take care.
See you soon, guys.
Thank you.